The labels verbal and nonverbal are ones that you hear a lot in the autism world. It's kind of been interesting to see how they're used and how they're not used. So when Maggie was first diagnosed, she was 3, and she had 5 two-word phrases that she used. They were basically echolalia, delayed echolalia. She used them somewhat appropriately. Like if she was doing something she wasn't supposed to be doing, she would say, "Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl." If she was mad at her sister, she would say, "Bad girl." She used "come on" for anything she wanted. Come on, come on, come on. She had Mio Bear and boots on. She had this pair of red boots that she loved. So that was pretty much at 3.5 when she was diagnosed, the range of her speech. And at that point, I pretty much thought of her as nonverbal because she didn't really have functional language. I mean, other than saying "come on, come on, come on," she didn't really use language in any sort of way to communicate with us. You hear Tessie and her little baby talk in the crib in the other room probably throughout this. After she was diagnosed, right away I signed up for this study. It was a really, really amazing study where they were training parents in a program of basically how to interact with their kids. And it was a 12-week program, and I got to be in the coached section where we would have a master's student coaching me on how to interact and work with Maggie. It was really, really cool, and it was extremely helpful. In the first phone conversation where I was talking with someone in the lab, she asked whether or not Maggie was verbal or nonverbal, and I said nonverbal, and she said, "So she has 0 words," and I was like, "Oh, she has," and I told her what her language was like, and she goes, "Then she's verbal. If she has 1 word, she's verbal. Nonverbal, 0 words." And that basically changed the way that I used nonverbal going forward. And having gone forward from that point, that is what I've found nonverbal to mean. Nonverbal means 0 words, no words at all. So neither of our girls are nonverbal because Tessie, I mean, she doesn't functionally use very many words throughout her day. She might not really use any words in the day, but she has words. She can say go. Her favorite word today was no, and she said no to just about everything I said to her. She can say hi. She started saying things like I go and I got. She probably has less than 10 words. She is only 2.5, which, I mean, less than 10 words isn't great for 2.5, but she has words, and she has some 2-word phrases. Tessie is not nonverbal, and Maggie definitely isn't nonverbal. Now, Maggie has a lot more language than she used to, and I mean, she's worked very, very hard to be at the place where she is right now.
Can I drive home? Can I drive home? Can I drive home? Can I drive home? Please. Dad.
Sir, so you're talking so much. I thought.
Macaroni and cheese?
Huh?
Honey?
Honey?
Macaroni and cheese?
I like macaroni and cheese.
Ranch?
Ranch? I like ranch. I like to eat ranch.
Pasta?
I like
Pasta?
mashed potatoes.
Is that all of them?
I like
Ranch?
ranch.
Pasta?
I like ranch mashed potatoes.
Robert,
that a
put the
thing?
top back on?
And a snack?
Swim in the snow. I like to swim in the... Uh-oh, what's Tessie doing right behind us?
Right up there. Right off the hands.
Shoes off?
And a snack?
Full start.
Under what?
And a snack?
Swim in the snow. I like to swim in the... I like to swim in the water. You like to swim in the
Snack?
snow?
Okay, please?
There's not really snow outside right now, though. It's warm. Well, it's not really warm, but we haven't had snow.
Her language doesn't necessarily always carry over into every situation, which, I mean, makes sense. In ideal situations where she's not stressed and she's perfectly comfortable, she has a lot more language than in any situation where she's nervous or where things are less than ideal. But I think the thing that has always amazed me about Maggie is that despite the barriers to communication that we have between us, she has always found ways to overcome them. And that is probably one of the things that amazes me about her the most, because we haven't always had very many words, and even now she doesn't functionally use that many words with us at home, with her family. I know that she uses a lot more when she's in therapy, and she can say like, can I do this and can I do that and stuff like that. I know that she can use words, but that doesn't really generalize at home very much yet. I'm definitely trying to encourage her to use her words more. At the same time, we have always had this kind of awesome combination system of language where she has not really had a problem since she was 4 years old letting us know exactly what she wants. I mean, very rarely. There have been times where it's like some abstract thing that she's thinking of and she gets really, really frustrated trying to express it. That happens less and less. It was harder when she was littler. Like, she would start saying a word and she would be saying it at therapy and she would be saying it here and she'd say it over and over, and I would be like texting her therapist like, do you know what it is? Or they'd be texting me like, do you know what this word is? And finally one of us would figure it out, and it would be something that was like, once you realized what the word was, it would just be like, oh my gosh, how did I ever not know that that was what she was saying this whole time? I don't know, I guess I would say that Maggie's relationship with language isn't easy, but it does seem to be extraordinary in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like the way that she is able to communicate with us is pretty extraordinary. That doesn't mean that it's not sometimes frustrating for her, that it's not sometimes frustrating for us, because it isn't the easiest. But usually we're able to make it work. And usually she's able to get her message across and express what she's thinking. I think that when she was first diagnosed, when I heard verbal and nonverbal, I was thinking of verbal as like what would have been classified as Asperger's before, and nonverbal as just like anything less than completely fluent in speaking clearly. And that's just not what it is. Nonverbal is not speaking at all, is 0 words. There are a lot of different levels of verbal and what it means to be verbal, and not all of it means communicating effectively or communicating clearly, although, I mean, there are a lot of different ways to communicate effectively that don't involve words. And that has been part of what I would say that our family has spent the last 5 years learning. Anyways, that is it for today. If you like this video, we would love it if you give us a thumbs up. If you're interested in all things autism, we would love it if you would hit subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.